Good evening. Welcome to the stream. So this is going to be a fun event tonight. So we're just getting everything set up. I got Tony Aiello here. We're going to be live streaming the Oregon Republican Party gubernatorial debate, and there's going to be fun. There's going to be some shenanigans here. I'm just getting the stream set up. So if Tony, you want to take over for just a moment, so I get kind of everything going.
Yeah.
And then
I texted Derek and I was like, man, nobody's having fun yet. And primaries are supposed to be fun. Like we've got 4 candidates up tonight who agree on like 90% of life with us. And I don't dig the negativity. Like primaries are supposed to be fun. Friendly jabs at each other. I'd rather see joke jabs than, throwing around the name Rhino, especially when people misspell it. That drives me nuts. It's Rino. There's no H in Rhino when you're talking about a Republican. That's only the African animal that gets the
these details.
Yeah,
so it looks like we have a good crowd turning in. So we got 31 watching so far. So that's awesome. And so hi, Dwayne. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So what we're waiting on right now is we're waiting for them to actually go live with the link. Once they go live, what we'll do is we'll broadcast a live stream in here. We do have some interactive polls going, and so what we'll do is, and we also have the rules for the drinking game. Okay, so when this thing going, we'll kind of put the rules up there. Obviously, we do not endorse you guys getting too blitzed tonight, especially on a work night, but it's all in good fun. Okay, yes. So we appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us, and let's celebrate. Let's have some fun and let the best candidate win.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I will be drinking Modelo tonight. I'm normally a Jameson whiskey guy, but I think there's a decent chance they kill me tonight if I was drinking whiskey, especially on the finish your drinks. So with that in mind, I decided to make a slightly more responsible choice and do some Modelos with limes. I'm a lawyer now. I can afford that. I don't have to drink them warm out of the trunk of my Corolla anymore. So
yet. Okay.
Not yet.
So let's hope that things keep going, trending upward for you.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the things that we're going to be working on tonight. So obviously here are the rules. So I hope you guys can see the rules. And so these are the rules. So drink once. Okay. So these are something that will flash in and out. Obviously, where you got about 2 minutes until this thing starts. Once it starts, then we'll broadcast and share everything, and then we'll just kind of watch this together. I'm going to try to kind of be as quiet as I can. I'll just kind of watch, watch.
You have to talk though, because it has to, lawyer here. It's got to be transformative.
Okay.
That's, we've got a game. We're supposed to provide commentary, laugh, joke. So there's I would encourage everybody, especially if you're watching on your computer, do a split screen or something where you've got the debate so you can control the volume of the debate versus Tony and Derek. You can mute us, especially if my dogs get to barking. Something we have to talk, but we will try not to abuse your ears.
Yeah, I want to be respectful because I want this to be, serious. Like everything that we've done going so far, that's why I took the time to interview, Ed Deal, and then we had Christine Drakeland on last night, and they did really, really well, and so that was awesome to see, what was going on and kind of their vision, and so I'm hoping that we can kind of see more glimpse of, what they plan on doing tonight. And it's going to be fun to see them go back and forth. I'm looking forward to that, so, there's lots of time. This is going to last until I believe 8:30. And so, I'm waiting for this thing to start, and they're going to
start. And the nature of a debate, of a primary debate, is they're going to spend a lot of time talking about the 10% or maybe 5% where they have some disagreement, or, the ways and means of it all. How are they going to go about accomplishing the shared goal? Luckily, we're not talking about, well, I want to ban guns. I don't want to ban guns. Like, these are all of our friends. So it's a good place to be tonight. I'm having fun, and congratulations, Randy. I wasn't born yet, but good on you.
That's awesome, Randy. I got 16 years sober myself, so I do have some water tonight. I did put a link in there to the debate, so it's on the GOP website.
Yeah.
So if you guys do want to watch it, it's there. It should be starting anytime. Once it starts, then what I'll do is I'll share it here, and so I'm just kind of waiting for that.
It'll be on the screen with us. So I mean, you're not going to miss the debate for watching us, but you might want to, split screen it and fork your email over to the Oregon GOP.
Yeah, and so and I think that's what it is, it hasn't started. I haven't got my email from them, and it hasn't started yet. It's 7:00. So where are we at, guys?
Yeah,
let's get this thing going. Their clock.
Oh, somebody in the comments says they didn't get it either.
Okay, yeah. So what they're doing is no. So here's guys, like, I'm not gonna do all this stuff just to watch your damn debate. Okay. So I'm here and I'm in the fight with you guys, and I'm not gonna donate. Okay. So get this thing together. It was supposed to be free. And so are you seeing this, Tony?
No, I can't see. It's not on our screen. I've got it.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this with you, and this is what I'm seeing here. Okay, so here we go. We're going to share this so you guys can see this. This is what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is joining the fight, right? So here we are. So this was supposed to be like, where's debate? And I got to donate. I'm going to the next screen to donate. Okay, so where's the debate? And so, really kind of disappointing here. And so, I'm not going to pay $100.
And it said join free. So sorry, guys. We thought they would just send it out when it started, but
yeah, they were supposed to send us the link. I registered with two email addresses because this is something that was important to me, and it was important to all of you guys. So give me 1 second. Let me figure this out. And obviously if it does, it may be just late. I'm hoping it's late. And so we'll figure it all out. And if not, then we'll just hang out once amongst ourselves, and we'll talk about the way things should be with the Oregon Republican Party.
Right.
So we'll accomplish something tonight, believe me. And so I'm going to try this again and see the official events, right? So
yeah, I don't know why let's try other 0.
Dude, I'm going to troll the hell out of them if this does not work.
Yeah, why?
Okay, so I'm back at the home screen.
Watch.
Well, they've already gotten all of our emails. That's the thing, is like, if you're truly about this,
yeah, you guys are.
I apologize.
Maybe they're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, they don't understand technology. So yes, I would agree with that. So let's see. This is so frustrating. What I'll do is I'm going to go to YouTube and see what I can find on YouTube.
There's somebody else.
Yeah, so maybe that's where they're having an issue.
Yeah.
And so that's we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and maybe that's something that's happening on their end. So please stay patient with us. Yeah. We're trying to work through this problem. So and so
who's not just us being dumb?
Let's see if this one's going on.
And of course, my computer's up, so I have to click on it.
So I don't see anything from PDX Real. Stand by, guys. It might be. Is it too early to have a drink just to kind of relax so we can figure out what's going on?
I might just have to crack it. All cookies. 7 to 8:30. That's what it says.
Well,
maybe they're late, but I don't see anywhere to click. What if I do $5? I would also like to cover the processing fee.
Yeah. Well, yes, please start drinking. Okay. We don't want to hold you guys up. Okay. So, if you guys would like to start, I really apologize. I thought this was going to be
Derek, what do we drink if the Oregon Republican Party has some broken link?
I don't know. We got to make it fun. We got to shoot. Maybe we should put a poll. Let's put a poll. You got it?
Oh, no. I'm saying I got a bottle of Jameson in the other room.
No, I got one guy that says I got it.
If we do
really not Ziggy. Could you put the link in the chat? That way we can share the stream.
That'd be great.
Yeah, put the link in so it's live on X. Okay.
Oh.
So if you guys want to put that link in here, I would be much obliged. And then what I'll do is I'll bring it on. And
if that was
I'm just trying to be efficient,
and they were going to email you an X link all along, that's messed up.
Yeah, Bob, I don't care what you partake in. I mean, it's all about coming together, and like what Tony and I do is we're big on unity, and for us to win, and we all want to win, is we got to work together. And so like what you're into. I'll
see if I can find it. I'll text it to you, Derek.
Okay. I apologize. I'm not big on X, and so that's not something that I do. And so I apologize.
Not Ziggy. There's your link. The link is Rinky Dink. No, that's not it. I was just wondering what page.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
All right.
Okay.
Does anybody know what page on X? Like, who is it?
I don't know why it's still highlighting it really.
Okay, I got it on my phone.
Oh, PDX Real.
Okay. It hasn't started, so we haven't missed anything. They're playing
perfect.
Song.
So we're freaking out for nothing. Okay, good. I like it.
They're playing Earl Dibbles Jr., which is this guy, Granger Smith.
Yee.
Okay,
so send me that text, will you please? And I can copy and paste. And all right, guys, we really apologize. We're trying the best we can with the tools that we have. I do have some good things. We have the drinking game. We have actually 2 polls that are going to be great. And so these polls, I can switch in and out of them. So what we'll do is we'll put the numbers in the crowd so you guys or in the comments so you guys can vote. And obviously it's not official. It's probably more official than the Oregon Republican Party stuff. So maybe we'll get a better turnout on this poll. And so did you send that, Tony?
Yep, I just emailed it to you.
Okay. Yeah.
If you guys hear weird sounds coming from around me, my wife is at Bible study, so I have 3 dogs in the room with me, and one of them is deaf, and she barks like Bobby Boucher because she can't hear herself, so she's kind of weird.
Could you text it to me?
Yeah, I can text it to you instead.
Yeah, because it's going to be easier that way for me.
Gotcha.
And
it still doesn't look like it's playing, so they might have realized they're having technical difficulties.
This is really
They're showing a bunch of sponsors.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Hopefully those guys paid the $5 to $10.
This is all I'm seeing.
Okay, perfect.
So
okay.
There are 608 people watching live on X. So
okay. That's a good thing for them.
To the edibles guy, please don't eat one edible every time I take a drink. Oh, that would be bad. That would be so bad.
Okay, here we go.
It also does say that it's live streaming on YouTube on PDX Reel.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their page.
Okay.
Says it's sold out, 350 people in the room.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have that, and I am going to share my screen. And so as soon as we have the screen, it's going to be there. And there we go. Thank you, sponsors. So we got you here. So since we got you here, let's talk about, obviously we had Ed Deal that was up first. We talked guns on April 1st. I put up another link last night. Also, I did the link to the Christine Drazen. And if you guys, saw both of those, what I'd like to do is maybe put something into the where we're waiting is we have this, right? So I'm going to show the poll here so you guys can put numbers in the chat. And so what this does is basically who is more 2A. And so you can put, 1 for Ed Deal, 2 for Christine Drazen, number 3 for Chris Dudley, and number 4 for Danielle Bethel. So it's just kind of a fun interactive way for us to kind of keep track. Are you guys paying attention? Are you guys watching what's happening? So that's, put that stuff in there.
Yeah.
I wonder if it updates.
I was really impressed with Drazen's answers. Deal was wonderful. But I was really honestly impressed with both of them. That they said a little bit of different stuff. One thing that Drazen really highlighted is that the Oregon governor is in charge of Oregon State Police. So to the extent we ever wind up living under a permit for any period of time, whoever's the Republican governor is going to be directing how that's done. And there's a lot they can do with agency heads and rulemaking. So it was a good idea. Oh, heavens. Bill Minix is in the chat.
Oh.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill. Hey, it'd be nice if you could play nice with everybody.
Spell.
Some of the stuff that I've seen really disappointed. Yeah. And I think this isn't your primary to win or lose. No. And so it'd be nice if you played nice with others. So that's my 2 cents.
Fun. I will. Mark in Portland says Dudley is a dud. I talked to him on the phone. I was happy with what I heard. I honestly, if I have to be the rah guy tonight, I will be. But I've talked to all 5 of the top 5, all 4 of the people tonight on the phone personally and received representations from them. And those representations are important because that's what we get to hold them to should any of them be lucky enough to be in office, And so yeah, that's huge to get a commitment and to have guys like me and Derek on the phone with them, which didn't happen before. Nobody was doing it until Derek started doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's just I'm a one-trick pony. I just want to know about guns. Yeah. And this is the first time that our 2A is actually at the forefront. And so we're gonna keep that going. This is something that I want you guys to understand is we were duped, right? So what they did is they put up this. We're gonna send you this link, but what they wanted to do is they wanted to like capture all of your emails, your cell phone numbers, because they're going to be building up to the general election. So now they're going to use those to send you fundraising text messages and emails. That's what's going to happen. And so I should have known
with
better.
that if they gave us the X link or some kind of link that we could click on this page, but this page is literally like, I mean, maybe that's exactly what they were doing, Derek, but I really hope that somebody screwed up, because I don't know. It says live stream official Oregon Republican Party debate starting at 7 p.m. That's what it says on my screen on the GOP page, and there's no link, so it feels like that was supposed to be clickable, even if it went to YouTube or X. I mean,
Absolutely.
hosting video on a website's a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, and so you're looking at our poll. So it looks like we have Ed Deal in the number one position with 71% of all of the votes that have been cast. I'm not sure how many people have voted already. This is just us as gun people, talking with other gun people, and just, this is a really important election, and that's where I'm really paying attention to this stuff, and I think it's really, really important that you guys are paying attention, and one thing that we have to, and this is directed towards you, Bill Minix, if you're watching this still, is there's no such thing as a perfect candidate, but there's only a candidate that can win. And so burning everybody down before the primary does nothing to help the cause. Okay. Period. Full stop.
I just try to talk about, like, I've endorsed Deal. I talk about what I like about Deal. And it doesn't mean I dislike that about Drazen or Bethel or Medina. I've been on Medina's show. I like him. He's a good fella. But
the link to donate works. That's the only thing that works right now. Give us your money.
But what I really like about Deal is the way he's involving citizens, which creates energy and buzz. Typically, like my entire life, Republicans have been boring until Trump came along. It looked like Jeb Bush was going to be the nominee in 2016, and Jeb Bush doesn't have a personality at all. Like he's a goober. And so I like the energy side of that comes along with it. And Deal does that. Like he makes me want to wake up and go fight somebody in a nice way. And I think he can pass ballot measures and referendums, and giving that dude the veto power would be amazing. And none of that's a slight against anybody else. I just complimented him.
So Wyatt, thank you for that. So are you, if you're watching that link right now, Wyatt, are you seeing the same thing that we're seeing? Because like, I don't want to miss anything. And I think it's important that, if, I'm just trying to keep everything in front of us so that way we can watch. So June, I'm glad you're here, June. Good to see you. So how you vote in our poll is you pick a number. Okay. So there's a number in there. When I'm highlighting a comment, the poll goes away on my screen, so I don't see it. So number 1 for Ed Deal, number 2 for Christine Drazen, number 3 for Dudley, and number 4 for Danielle Bethel. So who is more 2A? And so, yeah, Wyatt, if you could monitor that, I would really appreciate that. And if anything changes and we need to change the link, then I'll move over there. And, so we're, 7:18, nothing yet.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for, I hope you guys are having a good night. There's a lot
they're trying to figure out Dudley's podium.
Is he too tall? Is he tall?
He's 6'11".
6'11"?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is a tall guy.
So what does 2A mean? Okay, I like that. That's a really good question. So when we speak 2A, it means the Second Amendment. And obviously we have Oregon has an Article 1, Section 27, which is relative to the Second Amendment. And so here in the gun groups is we celebrate both of those. And so that's what the 2A means.
Yeah, Article 1, Section 47 of the Oregon State Constitution is just a mouthful. Having to say it on the news and in court and write it every time. It is much simpler to say 2A. And for me too, 2A isn't just the Second Amendment. It's what does the Second Amendment mean? I told one of the candidates, I understand that you hunt and I understand that you target shoot. That has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. When I talk about the Second Amendment, I'm asking you,
Here we
do
go.
you
Bruce
want us
Stark,
to have full autos?
Invocation, and Senator David Brock Smith for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So here we go. Can you guys hear that? You guys got sound?
Did they announce us? Please stand up for the invocation and the pledge.
Here we go. Pledge of Allegiance, guys.
Isn't this great? Look at you. Is this
You might
not
want to bump
exciting?
that up a little, Derek.
I'm not sure how
The
to
next
do that.
Republican governor's on this stage tonight. Is that not exciting? And what are we as Republicans going to do the first thing when we all get together? We're going to pray. Isn't that what we do as Republicans? We pray. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight grateful for the enduring blessings of liberty and the responsibility that comes with it. We thank you for this nation founded on timeless truths and for the great state of Oregon, its rugged landscapes, its independent spirit, and the hardworking people who call it home. Lord, we ask that you'd grant these candidates wisdom to lead with integrity, courage to stand firm in their conviction, humility to remember who they serve. Help us to cherish freedom, uphold the rule of law, and protect our communities, and steward wisely the resources that you've entrusted us with. In this time of challenge, Lord, we ask that you would guide us toward truth spoken plainly, debate carried out with respect, and decisions rooted in what is right, not what is easy. May this evening reflect the best of our state and the best of our nation. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Senator David Brock Smith.
Thank you. Is everyone ready for a fantastic night? Do we have some amazing candidates? We are going to hear from our next governor of Oregon, and it is incredible. So thank you all for being here, but more importantly, thank you all for being engaged, because it's going to take every single one of you talking to your friends to make sure that we win in November. So let's come together and honor our flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's have a great night.
And now, please welcome tonight's moderators, Emmy Award-winning journalist Bruce Sussman and PDX Real host Angela Todd. Now, please welcome the 4 gubernatorial candidates. Senator Christine Drazen.
So here are the rules, guys, for the drinking game. Put them up there so you guys can see. And
State
Okay.
Representative Ed Deal.
Woohoo! And yes, I see that. Beth Jones, she's a friend. You should win House District 17.
Commissioner Daniel Bethel. And Mr. Chris Dudley.
All right, just wait until you see how tall this guy is.
wow,
6'11" tall, brother.
that's a tall drink of water there.
Uh-huh.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the 2026 Oregon Gubernatorial Debate. It is fantastic to have you with us tonight, whether you're live in the studio or you're watching and live streaming right now. So great to be here. And I think that most of us are here because we would like to see Oregon move in a new direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely new direction.
And that means we're looking for the next person, the next leader, the person who could be the future governor to get the job done.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm honored to be your moderator tonight. My name is Bruce Sussman, and I'll be guiding us through some of the questions that we have this evening, but I'm not working alone.
Yes, it's a team effort.
Definitely.
I'm going to keep you posted. I'm Angela. I'm with PDX Real. I'm going to be asking the specific questions tonight
Yep, sounds great.
and keeping people from being rowdy.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh.
keep an eye on the audience, right?
Ooh.
For sure.
Watch out, guys.
Right, exactly. Well, it's great to have you all with us. And just so you know, as we get
I'm more
started,
scared of Dudley.
the candidates who are on the stage tonight had to
Yeah,
meet
leave.
certain qualifications. They had to raise $100,000 or more for their campaign, and they had to have at least $250 in individual donations. So that means every candidate on the stage tonight has a core group of supporters.
I think he
who
said
are
that
here.
wrong.
And with that, let's
I
introduce
think it was
tonight's candidates.
250 individual
First of all,
donations,
State Senator,
not dollars.
former Oregon House Minority Leader from 2019 to 2021, and again in 2025.
They're
She
sitting
was the
down.
GOP nominee for governor in
Fair playing field.
2022. Let's welcome Christine Drazen. And next, he is a state representative. He's an entrepreneur who co-founded and sold 2 different businesses. Let's welcome Ed Deal.
That's another thing I love about Ed is business guy. Dudley is too, but I love the businessman aspect of it.
Let's add that Ed Deal is also a representative of the House and the legislature.
Oh, yes. Did I forget to say that? Yes, I did. State representative. That's the first thing on my list. All right. Sorry.
Thank you,
about that.
Representative Deal. Yeah.
All right. Next up, she is a Marion County Commissioner. She's the former
Oh,
Uh-oh. What's going on here?
is it crashing? No.
executive director of the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce. She's also a small business owner. Let's welcome Danielle Bethel.
Marion County Commissioner Danielle Bethel. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Yes.
And next up, our wealth management executive, a former Portland Trailblazer and the 2010 GOP nominee for governor, Chris Dudley.
I don't think that counts in introductions. I don't have to drink 2 beers.
So you almost ready
Well, as
for
you
the
can tell,
rules?
we've got a lively crowd in the house tonight, and
put those
audience, we
back up.
appreciate your enthusiasm. As we go through this evening, Angela and I want to ask you to just hold your applause until we get to the end of each section
we
that we're
got-
going to be covering.
We got the
tonight.
rules up, guys.
That will just make it easy
So
for
just pay
everybody
attention.
to get their fair time and be heard on the live stream. which,
Oh,
of
our
course,
voices are loud.
all right, it's
Yes.
time to go to our first question and category. And we have a series of categories, actually, that we'll go through in just a moment. But first, we want to start with some opening statements. And before the debate started tonight, we did a drawing to see who would go first. In this case, it is Christine Drazen. So, Christine, would you start us off? And we have a question specifically for each of you. This is the question. If you are elected governor, what is your vision for what Oregon can be? What is your vision for what Oregon can be? Christine, welcome and start us off.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. You know, I am a lifelong Oregonian. I was born in Klamath Falls, and I'm a proud Oregonian. My vision for the future of our state really is pretty straightforward and simple. I believe Oregon can be the best place in the nation to live again, to raise your family, to start a business, to get a world-class education. That can be our home again. But to get there, we have got to lower taxes. To get there, we have got to return local control. To get there, we have got to restore accountability. I believe very strongly that the future of our state is in our hands this election cycle. As House Republican leader, last session, I led the fight to defeat Tina Kotek's $15 billion tax increase. I led the walkout to stop cap and trade and to defend your Second Amendment rights. I have worked to secure our elections. I absolutely will fire agency heads that are incompetent and inept. I will audit state government. The future of our state can once again be extraordinary within the state of Oregon. But to get that done, We are going to have to ensure that Tina Kotek is a one-term governor.
One
And
term
I'm
Tina.
telling you tonight that I am the one that can get that done. I am ready to lead. I am ready to serve as your next governor. As governor, I will put Oregonians first. I will stand with you and fight with you every step of the way. I am here to serve you and put you first and ensure that the Democrat machine that has putting Oregonians last is in fact done. It's time to veto bad ideas. It's time to balance budgets. It's time to serve the people. We can do that together. And I am here tonight to ask for your vote and your support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your opening
A lot
statement.
of overlap between her and Gio.
Now to Chris Dudley. What is your vision for what Oregon can be?
Well, I fell in love with Oregon and my wife over 30 years ago.
Before I moved.
And it's a beautiful state. The beauty, the people, the pride of this state made me fall in love. And I'm asked, why are you running for governor after a successful basketball career, after a successful business career? And the answer is pretty simple, because Oregon's at a tipping point. Our leaders have failed us. Salem has failed us. We are at such a place now that we cannot continue to go down this path for another 4 years. And I'm here to say that we have to do better. And I believe that we need an outsider to come in, that the politicians in Salem are not getting the job done. They've had their chance to turn our state around, and they haven't done it. It's our time to turn it around. We need a rebound. We need to recover from where we are and chart a different path. And we can do so. While the problems are substantial, when you look at it, whether it's that we're 50th in education for fourth grade testing, or that we're 47th in job creation, or whether we're number one in illness, mental illness and drug addiction, there are solutions, and we have to focus on these solutions and get things done. I will restore our schools, get back to fundamentals, get back to the science of reading, restore our schools, add accountability. I will open Oregon up for business immediately. We have to embrace businesses and entrepreneurs to create jobs, to grow our economy, to do good things. We have to cut taxes for the dollars you earn, for the houses you live in, for the gas that we put in our tanks. And I want to do all those things, and we have to do those things for the future of our children. And I'm running because my kids are sixth generation Oregonians, and I want better for my family, and I want better for your family, and we need someone from the outside to get that done.
Outside,
Okay,
like
thank you, Chris.
Outside like is in Washington.
All right, next up is Commissioner Bethel.
Thank you. So I'm a fifth generation Oregonian, a two-time small business owner, currently own a plumbing company with my husband today, and I'm a sitting Marion County Commissioner, as you heard. And I can tell you that my vision for Oregon is the one that I grew up with. The barefoot summers when I could go run to the ice cream store up the road and walk back with my friends to the playground safely, where my mom had opportunity, even though she was challenged in life, to be able to find security within her communities and her neighborhood. My vision for Oregon is affordable, accessible, transparent, and safe. It means that anybody in any community, regardless of urban, rural, or frontier, is seen and heard and delivered from its systems of government from the bottom up, not the top down. I have been fighting as a county commissioner for 6 years to be acknowledged by the governor and the legislature as a partner in making outcomes happen for Oregonians, whether that's for the economy, behavioral health, public safety, solid waste, transportation. Pick a topic that is overseen in the governor's office, and I have the honor of trying to perform that today as a county commissioner, but am completely stunted by the overreach of politics at the state level. It is past time that Oregonians have a seat at every single table and that it's balanced. It's not run from the Portland perspective. I agree, we don't need an insider from Salem, but I do believe that we need somebody that understands the systems succinctly, to understand when you come in on day one exactly why agencies are failing and why they're making poor choices, the statutory role that they're supposed to fill and that they're not fulfilling, and exactly what partnership looks like. I yearn for the opportunity to represent Oregonians in a space of thriving instead of surviving. I grew up in deep poverty. I navigated homelessness. My mom had a severe mental illness and an addiction issue. I survived all the way through that today to be a Marion County Commissioner because I believe in showing up for Oregonians. I believe in what it is to truly fight with truth and transparency for the people in front of me. This isn't about politics. Thank you.
All right, thank
Kind
you.
of mixed around the executive stuff, but she didn't say the word.
All right, and now to Representative Deal.
Right around it. All right,
Thank
Deal.
you. It's great to be here. First, I want to shout out for my wife there, Jamie. She's my rock, and we are in this together. And I would ask my colleagues up here to join me after the primary for a unity breakfast. To come together in solidarity for whoever comes out of here and is our Republican nominee. This is our time, and we have to come together. I led the no tax referendum to show all of Oregon, and all Oregonians that there is hope, that we can take back our state, that there is a hope that our government can be accountable, that our way of life can be affordable, and that we can have a thriving economy, not just for ourselves, but for our kids and our grandkids. And we can have a governor who represents the people instead of the narrow, extreme special interests. You know, my vision for Oregon is pretty simple. We have the most beautiful state in the country. We do. But I want an Oregon that is the greatest place to live, to work, to raise a family, and retire in a place where your kids and grandkids don't have to leave to find a better job. I spent my career before entering the legislature in engineering and business. I solved some of the country's most difficult manufacturing challenges. I'm a problem solver, and I deliver results. And that is what I'm determined to do as your next governor. I'm bringing that same determination, that same fighting spirit that I used in that referendum. I'm proving what I can do. I proved it with that referendum, and we're proving it again because we're bringing the disconnect bill to the voters as well. That one's going to stay in November. They're not going to be able to move that. That's the way I'm going to approach being a governor, and I look forward to the rest of this debate. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I think Ed saw the list.
All right, now to some specific topics this evening. We have 5 topics that we'd like to cover during the debate. The first is education.
So we have another poll.
Homelessness.
So you guys can go ahead and vote in the
business and
comments.
industry.
Who do you think's winning
We'll go
so
to
far?
forestry and the environment, and then we'll wrap it up
1,
with community
2, 3, and
safety.
4.
So I think there's a lot of topics for a lot of us across Oregon that we're concerned with. And we're going to start with education. And so, Angela, I'm going to throw it over to you to ask our first question tonight.
Good list.
It is.
Missing one,
I
but
believe, Mr. Dudley, Chris Dudley, this is going to be your question first. We're just going to move through that list that you guys drew. This one's on education. Today, Governor Kotek signed an executive order on education.
You can only have one.
Oregon ranks 48th in reading and 47th in math nationally. What specifically would you do to change these outcomes, and how would you measure that success?
Thank you, and appreciate the topic and appreciate the question. This is something I'm passionate about. I come from a family of educators. I've talked about education throughout my careers, and I believe passionately that the education of today is your economy of tomorrow, and we've got problems. For 4th grade testing, we're actually 50th right now, and I feel like sometimes I have to remind people that there's only 50 states, and it should bother us. It should bother all of us that we are dead last. On day 1, when I become governor, I will announce a state of emergency to address education. This is disastrous. We have to fix this situation. As it sits right now, over 40% of Oregon high school graduates need remedial classes when they go to college. That is unacceptable. As I've traveled the state, and we've gone over 8,000 miles over the last 8 weeks. We've done town halls, meet and greets, round tables in all 36 counties. And I've heard from teachers, I've heard from parents, I've heard from administrators, and they're all frustrated by the situation. I would implement the science, and the good news is here, there are solutions. Other states have had great success. Mississippi, for example, went from 47th to 1st in reading. And they did so by focusing on the science of reading, getting back to the basics, the fundamentals, phonics, and also adding accountability. It is so important that we get accountability throughout our school system. And it's something that has to change and has to change quickly. It will be a top priority for me, and we owe it to our kids, and we need to do much better. And it's a failure, and it's a shame that Salem, the governor, the legislator has let us get to this place. It's unacceptable, and it's something I will change immediately when I get into office. Thank you.
It's what 40 years of solid Democrat.
Okay, just a reminder to hold your applause between comments if you would, and go ahead, Angela.
No fun, Bruce.
They can't help it.
Yeah, there you go.
Ms. Danielle Bethel, this one is about housing.
Oh, I think we're all in.
Oh, excuse me. Do you want me to read the education
Nope.
question to you again? Okay, excuse me. Thank
No
you.
worries. I mean, I'll take housing and education if you want.
Housing is next. so
Together.
Stand by.
Great.
That
Okay,
one
I'm
has
ready for that
like
too.
Honey Badger.
So I was on the Salem Kaiser School Board for almost 4 years. And for those of you that have heard the narrative that I left because I was scared, it's far from it. I actually left the school board early because my husband and I achieved one of our lifelong dreams of purchasing property. And we were seeking active exit from one of the wokest school districts in the state for our children to survive in life. I can tell you firsthand, as sitting on the second largest school board, the disaster that education is
Just like you get them out of
statewide. We
speeding
have
tickets.
school boards for a reason, and they are underutilized and disrespected in every single jurisdiction across the state. As governor, I'm going to do some pretty drastic things. I'm going to upend the entire Board of Education. I don't believe that there's a single person there today that actually represents parents in this state. I'm going to focus on the two top leaders of education. If you don't know who they are, they're in the news right now because on Tuesday, they presented the most ridiculous plan possible to the media that they were delivering today to the Oregon Board of Education around how it's going to take 12 years, an entire generation, to right the wrongs of education in this state. It's the most absurd thing I've read in a really long time. I'm going to return local control. We're going to focus on phonics and comprehension. And the governor, and I'm sure most of you know this, is the superintendent of education. I don't believe that is the right thing, but for a while it's going to have to be because anybody as a Republican that gets elected better take on education as a #1 priority. We deserve it and our kids deserve it. In addition to that, I'm going to fast track the legislation that was passed recently to return accountability to schools by tracking outcomes. Dollars should be tied to outcomes. And if schools are underperforming, we shouldn't allow them to set the bar low so that way they can barely achieve. We should want to incentivize them to set the bar high and then support them to excel. Not only can kids rise to the occasion, so can educators. Teachers deserve to have their classrooms back. In addition to supporting him in that, I will make sure behavioral health is run by counties and not schools in a partnership method. Thank you.
Representative Deal.
The moderator clap.
So everybody knows our
What are the
education
rules?
system is an embarrassment. I mean, we're ranking near the bottom in everything you think about, but we're expending near the top. For me, it's pretty straightforward. We focus on accountability, discipline, and excellence in our schools. We have to reinstitute testing standards. We have to reinstitute truancy enforcement. We don't enforce truancy. The legislature is concerned about truancy. We have some of the highest absenteeism rates in the country, so we decide to study truancy. No, I think we should enforce truancy and hold parents and teachers accountable for that. It's not complicated. And if Mississippi figured this out, we can figure it out. The governor is the superintendent of public education, and the Board of Education is going to look a whole lot different when I'm governor. I guarantee that. We will direct money into the classroom instead of into administrative overhead.
Yeah, administrative.
You know what? I've talked to a lot of teachers who do not agree with their own union leadership. And they are as upset and frustrated as we are about the outcomes and their ability to just control discipline in their own classrooms. I'm committed to those teachers. So I don't want them to leave. We're losing great teachers. I want them to stay in the school system. And you know, I went through public school. My wife did. Our kids did. I want an amazing, robust public school system. But I also understand that we need school choice. I've sponsored legislation to bring education savings accounts to the state. I was a chief petitioner on a petition for education savings accounts. HR 1 has the ability, that bill, there's an opportunity for the state to take that that kind of control and set up school grant accounts to defer some of your federal tax dollars. Tina Kotek has opted not to do that. I will do that. Thank you.
Good work.
Next question.
No, you can just Christine.
Christine.
Thank you. You know, where to start here? I absolutely have had legislation that would address a lot of these challenges already. So let's walk through some of the things that are in my record on education. I had legislation which would have required that a student learns to read in 3rd grade. Can we all just agree that kids should learn by the time they're in the 3rd grade? And if they don't know how to read, that we keep them there until they do? It seems pretty straightforward and uncomplicated to me. My legislation also would have restored graduation requirements. Right now, our diploma is a participation trophy. Our diploma needs to mean something again, and it doesn't today. We also have to let teachers be the ones to make determinations for how to keep their classroom safe and how to focus on learning in the classroom. I had legislation which would allow teachers to remove disruptive students rather than doing room clears. 1 in 4 teachers says that they feel unsafe in their classroom. That is crazy to me. How can we possibly be expecting kids to be able to learn when their classroom environments don't feel safe? Absenteeism is a huge problem. We absolutely have to go after that. We have to take truancy seriously. But I want to be clear about this. Tina Kotek set this whole thing on fire. And now she issued an executive order today with a little thimble full of water, like she's going to be the one to put it out. It's ridiculous. She's the one that linked arms with Kate Brown to shut down our schools longer than anywhere else in the nation. I was a Republican leader during those days, fighting for schools to be reopened. My own daughter suffered during that COVID period, and we got her in private schools as quickly as we possibly could because our school district wasn't reopening and our kids were suffering. Parents need school choice. Kids cannot be anchored to a school that's not serving them. We have to have public schools that are strong, but parents need to be able to direct where their kids go to get the best possible education for their futures. We need to commit to get politics out of the classroom. And by the way, we've got to get politics off of our sports fields. No more boys and girls sports, no more men and girls locker rooms.
Okay, now you can applaud all the candidates. There we go. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much for all of your comments. And next, we're going to move to housing and homelessness, which, as we know, both big issues. And as we start that topic, I do want to say thank you to the Oregon Realtors and Home Builders for helping underwrite the cost of tonight's debate. So, Angela, with that, over to you.
Miss Danielle Bethel, owning a home is increasingly out of reach for everyday Oregonians. At the same time, Oregon ranks near the bottom nationally for housing production. What specific steps would you take as governor to remove the bureaucratic barriers, red tape, that are slowing new home construction across the state and to help make housing more affordable?
I'm sure this is going to be a shock to everybody, but local control matters.
Local control.
You have counties, 36 of them across the state, each land use authorities, each of them responsible for infrastructure and permitting and all the things that we need to have thriving communities and economies. But it turns out that the state of Oregon is in our way on a second-by-second basis. It seems like the governor and the legislature just go and create more and more agencies to prevent us from doing anything good in the communities across Oregon. So specifically, I'm going to come hard and fast for those state agencies to either go away or stay in their lanes. We have a compression issue when it comes to overregulation. It starts at the top and it runs to the bottom. And if you don't have good local leaders, then you're not going to get good local outcomes. We have to invest in our local communities. The Department of Land Conservation and Development, the Department of Environmental Quality, the Department of Energy are 3 agencies specifically that make it almost unattainable for anybody that's not a millionaire to be able to purchase a brand new home. Those 3 agencies are so far outside their scope creep, their statutory authority, I'm going to rein them in. It's a requirement by law that they do certain things, but they don't all need to exist. The Department of Environmental Quality doesn't even have to exist under Oregon law and or federal law because we have the EPA. We can reduce several different agencies at the state level and push responsibility back into the communities. In addition to that, we have an infrastructure desert across this state. There's not a single jurisdiction in Oregon right now, ask a city councilor or a mayor, that has the resources right now to be able to help with the affordability of housing. The legislature needs to act. The governor needs to make a plan, a thoughtful one, about whose responsibility it is to make sure that we can have housing come online and make those strategic, prioritized investments. We have developers all across this state ready to go right now, but they don't want to hit go because they don't want to put the cost of that on the back of the homeowner coming forward. Thank you.
Representative Deal.
So a lot
That
of
was
the
pretty
challenges
good.
we have with housing
She knows what
construction.
she-
First, we're going to build Oregon homes with Oregon timber, number one, all right? But a lot of the problems we have with housing are with agencies that are out of control and agencies that are no longer representing the best interests of Oregonians. And that's what happens when you have 40 years of one-party governance. They are no longer accountable. As your next governor, I'm going to go through agency by agency and change leadership in that agency and refocus them on their core mission. I want these agencies to be the agencies of yes instead of no. How do I help get projects done? How do I help progress? How do I help people get into homes and create good jobs? That is what we should expect from our agencies. That requires leadership at the agency level. And when I talk leadership, I'm thinking about, like I had in my business, people who can do a deep dive into each one of these agencies and look for the waste and look for the fraud and look for misalignment of mission and fix it. We don't have leaders like that in our agencies right now. For housing, yes, part of it is a land use problem. We need to expand available land for building. There's things we can do with, for example, deferring system development charges till the end of the project, reducing the cost stack. A lot of that is due to regulations. Permitting. If anybody's tried to build anything in this state, you know what I'm talking about. Permitting is ridiculous. I want to have some permitting transparency, a dashboard, set timelines for permitting. If you miss the timeline, you will not be paying the fee. But more importantly, if there's projects that are delayed due to permits or regulations, those projects land on my desk as governor and they get resolved. Other states do that. Oregon does not do that. I will take an active role in making sure that we progress and our agencies are working in the best interest of the Oregon people to build Oregon homes.
Next person, Miss Christine Drazen.
Thank you. I say quite a bit lately, you shouldn't need a permit to get a permit. But that's kind of what it feels like when I talk to business owners.
Yeah.
Their experience of trying to get projects off the ground is delay, one agency after another. In this last legislative session, the realtors brought forward legislation that was shot clock legislation. That was, progress, and we have to make progress everywhere we can. But what we have to focus on is we've got to reduce the regulatory burden, period, across all sectors, in particularly across the housing sector, but we've got to reduce the regulatory burden. We talk all the time about the process to adopt rules. The rulemaking process is everywhere. We need a rulemaking process to repeal rules, to post for public comment and start to get some of these things off the books. If it isn't specific to safety, why are we doing it? Why are we adding this burden on businesses? And I would say in some cases, local governments are extraordinary and we need local governments to be in charge. And in some cases, local governments are the problem. And they're out there with their hand out and their hand in your pocket and they're slowing things down and they're driving up costs. We have got to address SDCs. We have got to figure out a way at a state level to recognize what our priorities are and invest in infrastructure. It's one thing to put the SDCs costs at the end of the project. It's another thing to make sure that those SDCs don't stop that project from happening. We have got to, across the board, recognize that Oregon is the problem. We are an anti-business state. Our taxes are too high. Taxes in Oregon on businesses alone went up 77% since 2019, almost double since 2019. It's amazing that anyone can afford a home in this environment. We have got to wrap our hands around not just the timing of these permits, but the pace at which the regulatory environment is crushing all businesses, and we've got to address land use. I talk all the time about how important it is to bring people together and have that conversation, but we can't talk housing unless we also talk land use.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Land use and SDCs are a big problem.
Yes, housing affordability is a huge issue in our state, and it's something, affordability as a whole is a huge issue. And it pains me that over half our state, over half of Oregonians are living month to month. And I understand what that's like. I remember that as young, growing up, living with my mom, and the car breaks down. How do you afford it? What do you cut back on? And too many Oregonians are facing that issue right now. One of the components, of course, is housing. And the key components there are land costs and permitting time. I've talked to developers, builders across our state, and by the time you buy the land and go through the permitting process, it already costs more than the median household can afford before they've even broken ground. That's unacceptable. We have to do better at providing more land, but we also have to reduce the permitting time. And that's what happens when you don't have economic background in the governor's office. We haven't had a governor with a business background in over 40 years, and it shows. And we need that badly. And it's apparent when they don't understand then what used to take, of talking to a builder in Redmond, what used to take 18 days to get approved now takes a year and a half. There's the time cost value of money. There's the reasons, the costs that those add. And we have to address that. We have to streamline the process. And it seems like Governor Coates, every time Governor Gotek makes something a priority, it gets worse. Right? Housing, homelessness, drugs, schools, everything she's prioritized has gotten worse. We need somebody from the outside in the governor's office that actually understands economics, that will do things to turn it around, that will replace agency heads, that will look at different things. As governor, you have the power of appointment, which is a huge power. We have over 300 boards and commissions in our states. We have to make replacements. We have to get people who actually understand the business that they're regulating on those boards and commissions, and it has to be done right away.
Thank you.
I like that.
Dudley's pretty wealthy too. Ed and Dudley both have.
Yeah, how are we doing on our drinks,
Representative
guys?
Ed Deal, this is a follow-up question under housing and homelessness about homelessness. Oregon has one of the highest rates of unsheltered. It says homelessness, not houselessness. Isn't that great? Sorry. In the country. As governor, what concrete measurable actions would you take in your first year to reduce the number of Oregonians living without shelter?
Thanks for that. And I'm glad you separated housing from homelessness, because they really are two different issues.
Yeah.
And on the housing piece, our governor seems like her solution is to create a bunch of tiny apartments that are subsidized. That's her solution. I want people to be able to buy their own homes with a yard. So my kids can buy a home with a yard that my grandkids can play in. That is the kind of housing I want, attainable homes. But when it comes to unsheltered homelessness, this is a different issue. I've toured these homeless encampments. I've talked to the people who are in the camps and people who have left the camps, been freed from these camps. And I've talked to people who've treated folks here. 99% of the people that are chronically unsheltered are suffering from drug addiction and or mental illness. You have to accept that. My solution is to return cities the ability to enforce their own camping prohibitions on public land. That's repealing House Bill 3115. The state took that ability away. You have to do that. And in simple terms, what happens is you have law enforcement and a social worker go out and you tell them, hey, we have basic shelter here with requirements. We have mental health treatment. We have substance use treatment. We have other services to help you get right and be productive citizens, but you cannot camp here anymore. You cannot camp here anymore.
Beth Jones,
that gives them an incentive. They go get treatment, they leave and move along, or do they go to jail? That is the compassionate thing to do. That is compassionate for them and compassionate for the communities that are suffering with this. I know businesses like Sheridan Fruit Company, who's closed because of the homeless situation. We also have to acknowledge that some folks are not ever going to be capable of helping themselves. They need to be able to get in a place so they can be helped. We need to modernize our civil commitment laws to allow that to happen and get them the help they desperately need. That's the compassionate thing to do, not leave them in squalor in the streets. That is gross neglect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can't go out there and not feel for these people.
Thank you.
You have to
You know, we have seen under Tina Kotek's leadership, homelessness increased 35% since she's been governor. That's incredible failure. There's no other way to look at that. Today, more than 27,000 individuals are homeless across the streets of Oregon. That's about equivalent to the number of people that live in the city of Tualatin. Wrap your head around that. That's crazy, isn't it? We have to get to the point where homelessness is rare and temporary, not chronic and permanent. For far too long, our leaders have been feeding the machine. And the homeless nonprofit industrial complex has continued to expand and grow homelessness across our state. We need to demand accountability for the people that are receiving those dollars. I went to an event this morning with the Portland Chamber where they had folks that were on a panel to talk about recovery and to talk about the state of homelessness across the city. And I can give you this word of hope from that meeting. Across the board, they said what we need in our system to address the challenges for the people that are on our streets is accountability, because the vast majority of the people on our streets are facing addiction. For the people that are not facing addiction, we have housing for them. We really do. We have a system which is not exactly efficient. I'm not going to go so far as to say corrupt, but it's not getting people into housing, but the housing exists. The accountability measures that we don't have today. Today, the state of Oregon's definition of recovery doesn't even include the word sober. Today, Oregon's definition of what we're doing for housing is 80% low barrier, which means come and do drugs here, 20% sober. It should be the opposite of that. If we believe in people, if we want to help them live their best lives, if we want to help them get clean, we have to reject Tina Kotek's approach that is housing first. It is absolutely leaving people behind. It is allowing people to die on our streets. We need a governor that will prioritize ending homelessness as we know it, and I will do that.
And that'll help with suicide too.
Chris Dudley.
Yep. And illegal
Well, the
guns.
housing first model has not worked. Shelter's a part of it, but it's not the end all be all. We have to do better. It does, obviously, when someone is mentally ill or drug addicted and you put them into a new apartment, it shouldn't be shocking to anybody that it's not working. And we have to change this. And the first step is prevention. We have to get the drugs, and I call poison, the things that you do once, twice, 3 times, and they either kill you or do such damage that it takes years to recover. We have to get that off our streets. We have to get it. We have to crack down on fentanyl, tranq, other drugs such as that. It should not be allowed in the state of Oregon to do what we're doing. And this has become personal to me. I've been in Old Town probably 10, 12 times, Wallace Park in Salem, Dirt World in Redmond, and spent lots of time with homeless. And it's become personal in that as I get to know someone there, I got to know a young man named Zach and get to know his story and how he got there. And then a week later, he's dead from an overdose on fentanyl. Yeah. Well, then I'm out in Boardman and I'm giving a talk, and afterwards a lady comes up to me and said, you know what, it's just not in the cities. And I know that, but she says, it's not just in the cities. My grandchild died last week from an overdose on fentanyl. Thought she was smoking marijuana. This has to be a true emergency, and we have to focus on it. We have to get that off our streets. And I should not be able to walk, as I've done, walk down Broadway in Portland at 10 o'clock on a Monday and watch a drug deal go down. I'm literally walking down the street and I see somebody on a bike with a boombox on the back, and he's literally waking up. He's going by people who are lying on the streets to wake them up. That is unacceptable. It's like the ice cream truck, but it's a drug dealer. We have to change that. And I would invite the governor and all the legislatures to take a walk, literally a mile from the Capitol building, take a walk to Wallace Park. It's like Mad Max down there. They need to spend time there and see what's happening and what the policies and the lack of seriousness about this issue is doing to our state. Thank you.
Yeah. Wallace Marine Park's unusable.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to introduce me again or if I just jump right into the subject that
Go for it.
Whatever you want.
Probably the far more expert on this stage about, if I'm just going to be totally direct. And I want to give a shout out to Commissioner Ben West from Clackamas County, who's in the audience and a direct peer of mine in this work. Marion County and Clackamas County are the 2 leading counties in the state of Oregon that are tackling this issue face on. Want to talk about Wallace Marine Park? I can tell you the number of people by name that I've walked across the Marion Street Bridge into sobriety and into recovery and to stabilization.
Yeah.
The Oregon Housing and Community Services Department, the Department of Human Services, and the Oregon Health Authority are directly causing this problem. OHCS has been the biggest cash cow in Governor Kotek's tenure. Every single emergency order she has written has gone into their bank account, and they have designed this system, what I refer to as the right to fail. I do not believe anybody has the right to fail. I don't care what your issue is. And there's not just 2 issues here, there's 3. We have a combination of mental illness, addiction, and cognitive disability. There are many, many people living on the streets today that have an intellectual or developmental disability that they did not get when they were a child, therefore they were not diagnosed and entered into services. Maybe they have a brain injury that occurred from a car accident, or maybe they were a football player and something bad happened. They are not being served today. There is no system in this state right now to help a family stabilize with their vulnerable family members. Not only do I have lived experience about this, but as a county commissioner, I work on this every single day. I have designed programs that are scalable statewide. If you want to talk about those resources on the streets, come to Marion County. I have 5 of them. Every single thing that Rep. Deal said has happened under my leadership as a county commissioner in Marion County. This is solvable. It's based on policy and expectations, measuring outcomes, tying dollars to contracts, and holding people accountable, and understanding the language in those systems. As governor, when you say, I want this done, you can walk in the room and understand how the agency designed it and hold them accountable. Thank you.
Thank you for all your thoughtful responses on that topic. Thank you.
That was really good. Really good.
That was fun for me. I lost a friend to fentanyl out in Montana.
Yeah, you've obviously put a lot of thought into this, and you can hear it coming through tonight, can't you? That's wonderful. All right, we're moving to our next topic area now, and that is business and industry. So we're talking about jobs, basically, right? The economy. And so I'd like to thank Emerald International for helping underwrite the cost of tonight's debate. And I want to turn it over to Angela for our specific questions on this topic.
Thank you, Terry. All right. This is going to be for Senator Drazen. Oregon's business climate has seen significant employers leave or scale back operations in recent years. What specific policy changes would you pursue to attract and retain good-paying jobs in Oregon?
Yeah, this is critically important to everything else we're talking about tonight. We don't have public services in a stable state unless we have a strong and growing economy. That means we have got to stop being anti-business. We have got to start to say, thank you for being here. What do you need to grow? Please do not grow your business in Nevada or Arizona or Idaho or anywhere else. We want you to grow here. We want you to stay here. And so we have got to lower taxes. I mean, Tina Kotek, it's clear that it's election year, right? She just announced that she suddenly recognizes that our economy is in the toilet. So we've got a prosperity council that's been announced, and the prosperity council is summarily ignored when Tina chooses to sign the disconnect bill and raise taxes on businesses by $311 million. That is just one of offense after offense where she continues to communicate to businesses that they don't matter. She takes them for granted, and all she wants is their money. The CAT tax has got to be reformed or eliminated. Those are our options there. The CAT tax is a commercial activities tax. For those that aren't aware of it, Oregon actually has a sales tax. It's just called something else. And it is not, in fact, delivering improved outcomes in our schools, but it is crushing our businesses and driving affordability problems for all Oregonians. We've got to address the CAT tax. I talked a little bit earlier about the regulatory environment. We've got to roll back rules and regulations that are making people, I talked to a business owner the other day. He said that he has to have 6 people on staff just to manage the regulatory side of his business. Not just HR, but all of the people that are interacting with the permitting processes and everything for his business. Those are not people that are advancing, making sure he can sell more goods to his clients. That's just more business expense, and that's the state that's doing that. We have to be business friendly, we have to lower taxes, and we have to say, thank you for being here. How can we help you grow?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Dudley.
Yeah, they are scared of this. I think that's why
Well, as I've traveled the state,
all solutions.
I've heard many times across the state that Oregon has gone from business unfriendly to adversarial. And businesses feel that they're actually butting heads, and they are butting heads with the government. As I mentioned earlier, those up to 300 boards and commissions. We need different people in those places. On day one, I will start making choices. On day one as governor, I will say Oregon is open for business. We have to change the attitude in our state. We cannot afford the services we need if we don't have a growing economy. And we've gotten to a place in Oregon where we've accepted a stagnant to shrinking economic pie, and we're trying to take a greater and greater tax slice out of that shrinking pie. It does not work. We have to be in a place where we're growing that pie and having a smaller tax slice. We have to reduce those taxes. The governor started, a week before announcing a re-election, starts a prosperity council. The timing was, interesting to say the least, but it's such what's the first thing that what's the first thing that comes from legislature? They disconnect from the federal tax bills. It's SB 1507, which is just devastating to businesses. And it's crushing it's taking away our bonus deductions. It's crushing small business. And I don't think she even understood what QSBS is and what the impact it has for small business. We have to embrace businesses, embrace entrepreneurs. And I am so concerned. If I travel the state, I can't tell you how many businesses told me that their new additions, their new investments were out of state, or they were considering leaving the state. In fact, they said, if you don't get elected governor, if we don't have somebody here who understands business, we're going to be leaving this state. We are at a crisis. We have to turn it around, and we have to turn it around now. And that's why we need somebody, an outsider, who actually has an economic background to run our state. It has never been more crucial than it is now.
Commissioner Bethel.
Thank you. So I just wrote down this list really quick because there's not enough time in 2 minutes to answer this question. So I'm going to say taxes, regulation, insurance, workforce, goods and materials, cost of labor, paid leave Oregon, land use challenges, urban growth boundaries, and licensure. All of those things combined are why we can't operate a business in this state for profit. I own a plumbing company. 35% increase in 4 years just on cost of goods. And then they added paid leave Oregon on. Turns out I have to hold a position when somebody goes on leave and I have to pay 2 people. I can't do it under this economy. And I know that plumbers are a shortage. It turns out licensure and access is a problem. Business Oregon is supposed to be the economic engine of this state. What are they doing? They need to be reformed entirely. They don't need to be a grant handout agency of taxpayer dollars. They should be an organization that provides planning and incentives for businesses to thrive. Marion County is the only county in the state of Oregon that actually provides a rural tax exemption incentive to businesses who work there and grow there. We have big businesses that stay in Marion County, specifically in rural communities, because when they want to create better jobs and double the size of their business, we allow them to have a tax reprieve for 3 years. Why isn't every single county in the state doing that? Why isn't the state replicating that? Because we don't have anybody in leadership that understands the concept of business. We need somebody in the Bureau of Labor and Industries that understands you have to maintain insurance agencies here so there's a competitive market, not a monopoly. There are so many issues in this space that we need somebody in office that not only understands business, but understands the government, that can come in and just eradicate all the regulation and ridiculousness. It's an obvious that we get rid of the cat tax and that we look at every single sector of business and the over-regulation and taxation that they have and just cut straight through it. We have a compression of issues between the state and the counties and the cities across this state, and nobody is marching in the same direction. We need a leader that will call them out and hold them accountable to do just that.
Excellent. Representative Aiello.
Thank you. You know, as your governor, I will make sure that a business owner, his first call from a sitting governor is not the governor of Texas. It's the governor of Oregon. And I'm saying that because that is exactly what's happening right now. I was down talking to Pavati Boats in White City, and they are trying to expand their business and facing a lot of challenges. They have been unable to get an audience with Kotek, but they have businesses recruiting them from Texas. And then they have the governor, Greg Abbott, from Texas, talking to him. And I'm sorry to report that 2 days ago I heard back from Pavati, and they told me via email that they've decided to move their business to Texas. That is unacceptable. I believe I'm the only one on this stage that has built a business from scratch in Oregon. I sold a car.
I mean, I'm literally sitting here right next to you.
Okay, maybe not. All right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I sold a car.
Uh-oh.
I leveraged my credit cards. I put everything I had on the line to build this thing. I built it up to 100 employees, solving manufacturing challenges all around the country. I know what it's like to build a business, and I know what it's like for Oregonians to go through this and the challenges that these businesses have. We need an Oregon governor that understands that understands it intimately, and will focus on that. And we talked about taxes. We have the hidden sales tax, the cat tax. I'm calling for the full elimination of the cat tax. That is a dismal tax on businesses. I'm also calling for, we have a governor going around doing a prosperity roadmap while she's passing, clawing back $300 and some million of taxes that were part of the disconnect bill. I'm referring that to voters. She signed it last week. I'm referring it to voters now. We're going to get that on the ballot for November. We're going to reduce our taxes, reduce our regulations, and get Oregon back to business.
Okay, yes. So for the next question, we're running a little behind, so we're going to make it a 1-minute answer on the next question. So let's see how concise you can be. Angela, go ahead.
All right. Small business. So this is, Chris, this is Mr. Dudley, this is for you. Small businesses are the backbone of communities like
Not me.
Hillsborough, where we're at. What is your plan to reduce the regulatory and tax burden on small business owners while maintaining worker protections and environmental standards? And specifically, can you name a specific tax you would like to eliminate?
Well, I know an executive order I'd like to eliminate, which is the CPP, get rid of the climate. That is such an ill-conceived, badly designed, and yet another example of lack of economic awareness, and that's climate protection plan, where our rates are going to be 5 times that as California. It's basically a $5 billion tax, and it's going to be unregulated and going to nonprofits. That's just another example of the complete unawareness of what's going on with business and how to create an environment where business can thrive. And the governor, again, to get back to the Prosperity Council, outsourcing that. As governor, I will be the chief prosperity officer. That's something you don't hand out. And as governor, I will recruit businesses from other states and work to keep the businesses here. I visited Pavati as well. I can tell you, I could name off 5 other businesses that are being recruited by other governors right now from South Dakota, Arizona, Texas, across the board, where they're personally calling them. And yet we're not even calling our biggest businesses. We're not working, let alone our small businesses. As governor, that's something we have to embrace, and we have to get to a place where we understand economics and accept that we need growth in this state to have the services we want.
Thank you.
Would you repeat the question?
Yeah. Small businesses are the backbone of communities like here in Hillsborough. What is your plan to reduce the regulatory and tax burden on small business owners while maintaining worker protections and environmental standards? And can you name a specific tax you'd like to eliminate?
Well, I can name 2, the cat tax and the commercial property tax. So as a county commissioner, we're the tax collectors, and I can tell you it's not an equal opportunity tax for any commercial business anywhere in Oregon. I don't care if you're in Hillsborough or in Salem, and it's not equally collected. We shouldn't be taxing things that we don't actively measure accountability on and can chase. It's like if you own a business, you know what it is. Like if you drive in a dry cleaner, we're taxing the tools and equipment inside. If you own a plumbing company, or we're taxing you on the pipes that you have, the materials that go in the houses. It's difficult to regulate. Assessors can't do it. It doesn't generate enough revenue for counties to worry about, and it should just go away. It's a huge burden. As far as employee protection, I think that we have specific agencies that are supposed to do their jobs, like Bureau of Labor and Industries, that is failing across the board, that needs a complete overhaul. They've got a lot of bureaucrats that sit in a building downtown Salem, and they're not in the communities listening to workers and employees and understanding what their challenges are. Sorry. Thank you.
I agree, Brian.
Yeah, sorry about the shorter question.
You did better
We're
than
testing you
Chris.
guys. We're testing you.
Representative Aiello.
For small business, I mean, a lot of it is also with the cat tax, eliminating the hidden sales tax, cat tax. Also, we have executive orders that I would reverse. When I look at some of the executive orders we've done in the name of climate, I'm looking for what is the return on those? We have increased our energy costs and our fuel costs exorbitantly for very little, if any, return on the climate. I would eliminate the CPP, the Climate Protection Plan, which, guys, you haven't even felt that one yet. It's coming. It's big. I would eliminate the Clean Fuels Program as well. That is raising costs for utilities and energy on every consumer and every small business.
Mm-hmm.
We have laws in place that make it very difficult to bring on employees for small businesses. We need to reform those laws. So that's just a sampling of many of the things that we need to do to get small business back and moving in the state.
Senator Drazen?
So many small businesses actually pay the personal income tax rates. Like, we're talking a lot about the cat tax, which is meaningful. But small businesses are the backbone of Oregon, and they're not all manufacturers. I wish we had a stronger manufacturing section in our state. We've lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs in the last year. But the reality is lowering taxes for everyone also benefits a majority of small businesses. The opportunity to take another look at our actual personal income tax rates and make us less aggressive. Do you guys realize that there was just a recent study done by Wallet Hub that said that Oregonians pay among the highest tax burden of any state in the nation personally? Small businesses, almost all of them are paying these personal income tax rates. We need to provide additional deductibility for them. We need to expedite their interactions with government. So time is money. So we need a more efficient, effective government. But we need to lower income tax rates for everyone, and that will also benefit small businesses.
Okay, thank you, candidates and audience. You can respond.
Really good. Really good.
Excellent. All right, it's time to move to our next topic now. And at this point, we're going to be talking about forestry and the environment. These are both huge issues to a lot of Oregonians. And we'd like to thank the Merlot Corporation for helping underwrite the cost of tonight's debate. Now, Angela, over to you.
Yay! Oregon, so this is, Danielle, this is going to be you. Yeah? Okay. Oregon's forests are at the center of competing interests, timber industry jobs, wildfire risk, and habitat preservation. How would you balance the economic needs of rural communities with responsible forest management?
Well, we should just cut trees. So currently right now, as a sitting county commissioner, I have the opportunity to work with every county in Oregon, but the 17 timber counties directly, Marion County is one of them. And yes, Clackamas County too, sir. Mm-hmm. And I have spent time already over the last 6 years fighting the federal administration and more actively participating with the current administration to start harvesting timber. Marion County and Curry County in the next 18 months will be the first two counties to receive a stewardship agreement from the United States Forest Service to start harvesting timber in our rural communities. We have the opportunity to do it. I understand the rules and regulations around the Endangered Species Act and the Habitat Conservation Plan, which I will tell you county commissioners have shelved under this administration, and we hope to not see it return. We need to not just cut trees. We need to have sustainable jobs in these communities. And we have deserts right now in some of our most frontier communities because of the hindrance of the Endangered Species Act. Recently, I learned about a policy from the Department of Fish and Wildlife that allows us as local leaders to be able to petition into these environments to suggest where the species is and isn't. You'd think that this would just be commonplace and people would be actively doing it, but it's been buried in federal policy for far too long. We need to have local leaders that understand where money can come from, and it certainly is our trees. It's also our waterways along the coastal regions. We don't just have trees in our economy. We have lots of fish that we can go after and other crustacean-type species that we should be promoting as a source of workforce and stabilization in our economy. And again, the Endangered Species Act is the largest challenge in that space. I wish I didn't understand it as much as I do, but it's important for the thriving community that I support right now as a county commissioner. Every single timber county in this state should have a stewardship agreement. Every single county in this state should make sure that they have proper workforce and industry to stabilize and harvest that timber. We need government to be our partner. Those sale agreements can't be done on the backs of some of these small organizations. Thank you.
Representative Deal.
She knows her stuff, man.
Oregon sits on a bounty of natural resources. We are a very wealthy state when it comes to natural resources. And our agencies and our governor have chosen to lock those up. We're letting our forests burn instead of harvesting them. And I think that's an outrage. I grew up on a cattle ranch. My dad was a logger. One grandpa was a sawmiller, the other grandpa was a forest ranger. So I'm kind of passionate about this issue, and I spent a lot of my career working in the wood products industry. We can quadruple our harvest rates and not quite meet sustainable harvesting levels. We can do that and create beautiful forests that don't burn, and create jobs for rural communities and revenue for our schools and police and fire safety in our rural communities. This is a win-win-win for Oregon. Our policies have starved our rural communities, and now they come begging to the state for money. I think it's an outrage. We can change it with smart policy. It's not just with timberlands, though. It's mineral resources. It's grazing lands. Do you guys know that we sit on a wealth of lithium in this state? A wealth of lithium. It's on the border of Oregon and Nevada. Nevada is mining that lithium. 900 jobs on the Nevada side. Nothing going on the Oregon side. That should outrage us. And we're doing it. Why are we doing it? In the name of the climate. While we go get the lithium from foreign adversaries and countries that have no environmental standards and use slave labor. That should outrage us too. Oregon should take advantage of our amazing natural resources that provides wealth for for rural communities, wealth frankly for the entire state. I want to build Oregon homes with Oregon timber. Let's bring it back.
Senator Drazen.
Thank you. I mentioned I'm from Klamath Falls. That also means that my parents were raised there. And when I was growing up, my dad worked in the mills outside town there. And it affected my family when those mills closed. It meant years of unemployment when our community was left behind because environmental interests ruled the day. And I lived that. And I know the effect that it has on families when rural communities are left behind. It is beyond time for us to recognize that Oregon's natural beauty is also an asset, and that we can commit to our conservation values and manage these forests in a way that maintains them and supports local communities, supports schools, supports local services, and also assures us all that we will be harvesting sustainably and appropriately, and that we won't just watch those forests burn. That's the crazy thing to me about this conversation. I know it's controversial for some, but what they are really doing is they're saying that they would rather watch those forests burn than allow for someone to rationally, reasonably, responsibly harvest carefully and manage those lands. We cannot allow that to continue. You know, in these most recent wildfire seasons that we've had, we have had more emissions from wildfires than we have from a year of downtown Portland traffic. What are we doing? We have to manage these forests. I think it's an incredible opportunity right now to work with the federal administration across our state and all these counties, including the one I'm from in Clackamas County, to be able to manage these forests more actively.
As we've discussed, right now we're in a lose, lose, lose. We've lost the jobs, we've lost counties for the revenues, and I would argue it's a loser environmentally as well. And we have to change that back into a win-win-win and embrace the natural resources we have in this great state. Too often we get in that either-or conversation. It doesn't have to be either-or. You can harvest, you can manage the forest, and you can protect the environment. You can do both. And it's a shame when I've traveled the state and talked across our state, so much of the state feels unrepresented and left out. They're frustrated by not having the revenues that they were promised in the ONC counties and other areas. Whether it's fishing, farming, or forestry, we need to embrace our natural resources, let people work the environment responsibly. When somebody's been there, a fifth generation forester or farmer or a fisherman, they want to take care of the environment. They want to make it sustain. They of course want it sustainable to pass it on to the next generation. And we've lost our way there. As governor, one of the biggest powers you have is the power of the pulpit, to be able to bridge those divides, to talk about what's happening in rural Oregon and explain it to urban Oregon. And it's something that's been lost. It's when I'm down in Coos Bay talking to Southport Timber, and they're telling me they're having to bring logs from British Columbia. That's crazy. We have to change that. And then when I come back and I'm talking to a group in Portland, and a lady tells me, well, I don't think we should cut down any trees. And then I go down and start explaining to her, how we're mismanaging the environmental costs. And and eventually she agrees. And that's the bridge we need somebody to be able to bridge that gap. Environmentally, I'm seeing every summer, I live in Sisters in Central Oregon, every summer we're seeing this. Last summer, we had a fire come 3/4 of a mile to our house. We're firsthand seeing what the mismanagement of our forests are doing right now, environmentally and costing jobs. And as governor, I will change that.
Okay, and our next
I think
question
you did well on
will
that.
be 1 minute answer for the next question. Thank you.
This is going to be for Representative Deal to begin. Wildfire risk and smoke have become a year-round concern for Oregonians across the state. Talking about that right now. What is your plan to reduce the wildfire risk through forest management, community preparedness, and state agency coordination?
Well, first off, when a fire starts, put it out. When a fire starts, put it out. That's number one. Eliminate the fuels in the forest lands. Eliminate the fuels. That means sustainable harvesting. We've talked about that. There's also technologies available that are implemented in California. Some of it's implemented in Oregon that we can put throughout the forest that allow us to monitor and spot active fires much quicker than we do right now. But to me, the number one thing is you have to actively manage your forests. And if you do that, you have healthy forests that don't burn, you have jobs, you have revenue for your local, rural communities. That's the number one thing.
Thank you. Senator Christine Drazen.
Thank you. I'll be brief. Put the fires out. But also, let's be clear, on state lands, which isn't the majority here in our state, it's federal, we put the fires out. The Oregon Department of Forestry actually is very effective at putting the fires out on state lands. It's our federal partners that watch it burn. And that's the smoke that we're seeing. Those are the fires that spread. Those are the issues. Private landowners put the fires out. State landowners put the fires out. It's the feds that need to change their bad practices and start to put these fires out. I would also say it's really incredibly important that the state doesn't mandate costs onto families within the wildland-urban interface. I led the fight to repeal the wildfire maps that placed an undue burden on families that were in parts of our state where the state was dictating to them, and they suddenly were in a risk area that they didn't believe they could sell their home. They certainly couldn't afford the mandates that were coming their way for what kind of siding and roofing they were going to have to do. The state has to work collectively and collaboratively with Oregonians, not mandate these things down their throats.
Thank you.
They're doing a lot of kind of super duplicative questions, which is bothering me. But
Mr. Dudley.
We have to manage our forests, have to do such a better job of that. And as I said, as governor, I will make sure that we do a better job of that. And I'd like to give a shout out to the firefighters. I saw it firsthand last summer, the way they dove in and prevented damage to the houses in the area and across our state. They're having to do too much. They're having to do way too much. There's just every single summer now we're having catastrophic wildfires. And we have to do a better job of managing that. And as governor, as I said, it's with the power of the pulpit, it's bringing people together. It's bringing that understanding that again, it's not an either or, but it's coming together and saying we have to take advantage of what we have here and prevent these fires from happening. The catastrophic fires every summer. And doing so will be a top priority of mine to make sure that we are taking advantage of what we have there.
We talked about the map,
which I would argue again has been environmentally the worst for our state. And if we're going to actually take environmental and conservation and climate protection seriously, we have to embrace managing our forests in a better manner.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to the next question.
I didn't get to answer the
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I think
Okay.
I've done that to you twice
I will
tonight.
advocate.
Totally
No
not
worries.
personal.
That was the first time, actually. I think you're okay. You're good.
No, you're
It
fine.
was another time.
You're fine.
Okay.
I got you. All right. So
You
there's
honey badger
this
energy.
plan called the Good Neighbor Agreement. It's the federal plan that Senator Drazen was referring to. Counties are not participants in it because the state thinks that they're responsible for everything, if it turns out they fail at everything. So counties right now are leading the narrative at the federal level to be written into that. Marion County is leading that initiative. I'm actually doing that work today. In addition to that, this will be a shocker to all of you, I'm certain, but in the spring of 2025, for the first time in Oregon's history, the Department of Aviation of all agencies convened the first ever state agency collective response team for wildfire response with Oregon State Fire Marshal, OEM, DHS, Department of Forestry, and aviation led it. We need to have a governor that understands what these agencies are supposed to do and put a plan in place and make them do it. It's not that complicated. Yes, money is required. We have this term called COOP plans in government, and they're always sitting on a shelf in someone's basement, and it's never deployed because nobody ever understands what they are. Get it off the shelf and put it into action.
Okay. Thank you, candidates, for your response.
That was a little spicy.
We're getting some instruction.
Okay, yes, great. So at this point, we would like to go to our closing statements for today. And actually, I want to ask one other question before we do. Let's ask
Where are
the
we at
first
on
question
guns?
of the
Come
next
on.
category.
Sure.
Because we don't want to pass it up. It's very, very important. So
I thought that
this
was
is
the
gonna be our
moderator, it
final
was you.
question, and we're going to talk about community safety because I don't want to let that go. And I also want to thank
There we go.
our sponsor for this section, Executive Security Services, for helping underwrite tonight's debate. So let's go to the final question.
Senator Drazen, you're going to start this one. Oregon has grappled with rising property crime, retail theft, and public safety challenges in both urban and rural communities. As governor, how would you approach public safety in a way that rebuilds our community's trust while ensuring accountability in law enforcement?
This isn't on point, but
We
they
have
can make
got
it
to hold criminals accountable.
up.
There's a whole lot of technical reasons why local governments are saying that they can't actually hold people. And I just want to say this. It's a lot of excuses, and I'm kind of tired of the excuses. Oregonians deserve to live in safe communities. And the fact that people are breaking the law, they need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. As governor, I will hold criminals accountable. I am proud to be endorsed by the Oregon Coalition of Police and Sheriffs. I have always worked closely with law enforcement throughout my public service, and I always will. I recognize that one of the most important things to all of us, for our families, is that we know that we can live in safe neighborhoods and communities. And if we want to use our parks and our streets, that we can reliably enjoy this beautiful place we call home. That requires that we enforce the laws that we have on the books.
Thank you. Mr. Chris Dudley.
This is a big issue for me as well. In my family, I have police. My son-in-law is a Redmond police officer, and it's something we talk about. I actually just I've done 2 ride-alongs, one in Washington County, one in Deschutes County, as well, and visiting the police academy last week. It's a key issue. One of the most important roles of the governor is keeping his citizens safe. The first way we do that is actually enforcing the laws that are on the books now. We're not doing a good job at that. We need to get better at that. And we need to embrace our officers and what they are doing and reinforce them. We are 48th in the country as far as officers per capita. That has to increase. We have to do better. And as governor, I will increase the Oregon State Police and use them as needed across our state, because we have to restore safety to our parks, to our cities, to our towns, to our forests. It's something that has to be done and will be done.
Thank you.
All right, so.
Commissioner Bethel.
Yeah, thank you. Senate Bill 48, the catch and release bill, needs to be repealed. I mean, we can talk all the day about the excuses that law enforcement or anybody in the community is making, but there's legislation in their way for them to be effective right now.
Yeah.
We need to reform civil commitment, something that I have been the chief voice of statewide for 6 years with very difficult conversations in the legislature. We have people right now filling out on our community streets that are definitely not in their right mind, and they need stabilized in their health care. And we have laws in our way preventing us from doing that. Additionally, we need to have a governor who's going to take on the attorney general and all the ridiculous things that he is doing in office right now that prevent us from actually operating in a safe public environment. The fact that we have a long-time federal order called the Mink Order in place, and right now actively allowing people to commit crimes and not hold them accountable, and in collusion with the Department of Justice and the Oregon Health Authority, is a problem, and the governor needs to deal with it. Public safety needs to be prioritized statewide, and it needs to be funded, and it needs to be serious in every community.
Representative Deal.
State the obvious, we need to enforce the law. I'm more of a broken windows policy guy. And our local law enforcement does not do that. I would like to see state dollars tied to specific outcomes when it comes to local law enforcement. I want to tie it to reduced business break-ins, speed of recovery if a business is broken into, those kinds of things, to make sure that there's outcomes that we expect if a city is going to be receiving state dollars related to law enforcement. Senate Bill 48 absolutely needs to be reformed. Our No Tax Oregon effort is helping Representative Mannix run a petition right now to bring that to the voters to repeal much of what Senate Bill 48 did. That's called the catch and release law. That's absolutely important. This is also personal to me. Our son is a sheriff's detective. And so I want to see respect for law enforcement, and I want to see our laws enforced. And I also want to see law enforcement cooperate with federal officials when it comes to getting criminals who are in the state illegally out of the state and deported.
Okay, thank you, candidate. Excellent. All right, well, we have covered a lot of ground tonight in the debate, and it's time for our closing statement. And candidates, I'd like to ask each of you to spend just 1 minute explaining to us or making the case for why you should be the next governor of Oregon. And we're going to go in reverse order of how we started today, just to keep it fair. That means Representative Deal, you are up first.
All right. So I hope with the referendum effort, I've proven to Oregonians, I know how to lead, I know how to rally folks, I know how to get stuff done, big things done. I've done it my entire career in business. I think we need a governor, we need a candidate that can win and go toe-to-toe against Tina Kotek. I'm going to rally more voters, more Republicans who've been sitting on the bench for a long time, about 120,000 of them sitting on the bench. They're going to come out and vote. 120,000 or so conservative-minded, non-affiliated voters who have been sitting on the bench. I'm going to give them a reason to vote. And I will work Portland like nobody has. We have a unique situation right now where there's this common ground that crosses this urban-rural divide. Taxes. Everybody's complaining about taxes. Portland is shedding jobs right now, private sector jobs. They're complaining about a lot of things the rest of the state has. And I will remind Tina Kotek and every voter from now until Election Day what she did with that tax and fee referendum. And I will remind them, and we will get more voter turnout than ever. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris Dudley, you're up next.
Well, as governor, I will use my outsider perspective and business background to take positive, decisive actions to get our schools back to the fundamentals, to increase our economy, to cut taxes on the money that you earn, the houses you live in, and the gas you put in your cars. But importantly, as we have to win this election. I am tired of the protest votes, and we have to have a candidate that can reach out and bring people together. We need an outsider. Salem has failed. Salem's problems will not be solved by somebody from Salem. I think that's become abundantly clear. We need someone who can present a vision of what Oregon can be and bring us together to get that. We need that, and Oregon can rebound. I invite you to join me. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote. Come join me as we push back on the political elite, as we push back and take back our state. And let's make this state rebound and bring it to the glory it can be. Thank you.
Okay, up next, Commissioner Danielle Bethel.
So I'm obviously not the most funded candidate on this stage. I can't loan myself money, and Phil Knight did not write me a check. But I am the candidate that 100% has shown up every day for the last 6 years doing this work. I'm already doing the work of an executive. Every single question that was answered here tonight is real life things I'm doing every single day. I'm actually delivering results for Oregonians in the 5th largest population in Oregon. I can come into office on day one and do the job, but I can also stand toe to toe with Tina Kotek and anybody else and go directly into the weeds and tell you exactly why they're failing, because they're not just failing you, they're failing me. I understand those policies because I fight those policies every day as a commissioner, as a business owner, as a mother, and an Oregonian. I understand how this state is designed. And I can tell you at the end of the day, it shouldn't take money to win votes. It should take understanding and passion. It should take understanding of the state from every single county, corner to corner. And I am the Oregonian that can get that done.
Okay.
I'm not a student.
Senator Christine Drazen.
Tina Kotek has led our state into a ditch. All she wants is more power and control. All we get are higher taxes and failed government. The number one question that we all need to be asking ourselves tonight is, who can beat Tina Kotek and make her a one-term governor? That's what matters right now. I am that candidate. I have the policy background. I have gone toe-to-toe with Tina Kotek. I have been in this fight, and I have the scars to prove it. I can lead our state. I am ready to lead. We cannot afford to squander 1 minute. When we take this governor's office, we can't afford to have somebody that has to find the bathrooms. We have got to have somebody that can hit the ground running on day one. As governor, I will fight to lower taxes. I will return local control, and I will absolutely restore accountability. I will serve the people of this Oregon, and working with you, I will make Tina Kotek a one-term governor, and I'm asking for your vote.
All right, thank you, candidates.
Thank you, guys.
Great job tonight. We appreciate your candor and you making time in a busy campaign season. And I think Oregon's going to be in good hands as we go forward. I'm optimistic about that. Two keynotes I want to share with you. Number one, a reminder, the Oregon primary is May 19th. It is next month.
So you guys stand by for
very
my birthday.
The deadline to register to vote is April 29th.
And we have a closed primary, which means you need to be a Republican if you would like to vote for one of these
It's
candidates.
April 28th.
April
Do it
29th.
online. It takes 2 minutes.
April 29th is the deadline for doing that. However,
Thank
you're
you.
going to
So we're gonna
register.
do
Yes, good point.
a live stream real quick
So
after
April
this.
29th
So
is the
stand by for that.
deadline.
We'll
May 19th.
kind of talk about things.
Little
I'm
wrap.
kind of really
28th?
disappointed.
Oh,
We'll talk about it.
excellent. Okay, well, don't miss that. Oh boy, I would get that wrong. Just like the forecast back in the day here.
It's 12
Golly.
o'clock.
All right. Yes. April 28th is what we're talking about. That's the accurate deadline. Okay, I love it. All right, and May 19th. Primary. Thank you very much. And that's it from Hillsborough tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Stand
Let's
by,
hear
guys.
one more
We're
round
gonna-
of
we're
applause
gonna
for all of
follow
our
up.
candidates tonight.
We're going to do a wrap up. Read comments. Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm out of there. So I hope you guys can see us now. Wow, that was good. I think we have some good candidates. One thing I'm really disappointed in is the fact that the 2A was not brought up. You know, Tony and I have worked really, really hard with these candidates to kind of get them to understand the issue. They're reaching out to us. They want our votes. They want our help. They want our endorsements. Yet the moderators left that part out. Okay, so that's a problem I have with that, because that does not speak to the non-affiliated voters, maybe the moderate Democrats that are looking for change, right? And so I think it's a lost opportunity for us in the 2A movement, because like we were represented tonight, you know, and from a 2A standpoint, obviously we had some great candidates and they all did really, really well. But that kind of left me kind of disappointed, to be honest with you.
They
but
didn't.
I'm a one-trick pony. I'm all about guns. So
My problem with it is we heard all of them agree on everything, like I told you right at the start, 95% of stuff, none of them are going to say, actually, I do support the cat tax. So maybe we won't repeal that one. And so focusing even on one area where we are glad to have you, Mark.
Yes.
Focusing on
Thank
even
you.
one area where they might disagree, even about the ways and means of it all, or get into this, the sticks of this is a Republican primary and they're treating it like a general town hall. But I mean, overall, I think we heard there's 4 great candidates who will all do good things on broad issues,
Okay, so I've interviewed 2 of them. Tony's been in contacts with a few of them.
I've spoken to them all by phone.
Yeah, from my perspective, okay? So my perspective is Drazen knows how this game of politics is played, okay? She plays it very well. She does stuff behind the scenes. Obviously, the absolutists in the group, myself as sometimes, right? I can see big picture stuff. That's where I try to get back at a 30,000 foot view. I think that, she has a good command of how policies work. I really like the way Deal, he's very coachable. His leadership, like we're talking about that Rule 27 complaint. You and I, Ed Deal, were the ones that, he gave us the idea, he teed it up, and then I took off and ran with it. And that really helped just destroy them in that short session. And so in that regard, I'm going to give my hat to him. I would say between, Deal and Drazen. Drazen is really growing on me. And I think she's the last 2. I did an interview with her last night. I think she did really, really well. Tonight she held her own. And so that's where I'm like, okay, we're going to have a race.
Yeah. Bethel, I'm not going to just pile on to what Derek said, because I agree with everything he just said about Deal and Drazen. I had a conversation by phone or by FaceTime with Bethel very early on. She was the first to announce, and she's super absolutist. So I'm not worried a ton about any of the 4 candidates. I do question a little bit whether it's going to be a priority for Dudley. I heard Deal and Drazen both talk about what they're going to do day one to do with Measure 114. And of course, they're talking to the 114 guy. Dudley was talking to the 114 guy too, and didn't say any of the stuff that Deal or Drazen said. But he also didn't say, well, I really like red flag laws, which is a common Republican. I'm not worried about any of them jumping in on and signing a assault weapons ban. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about red flag laws. I'm worried about suppressors. I'm worried about how far are they willing
100%.
to go.
And I think that puts us in like here. Well, they're starting a new organization, Orgoal. It puts us as Oregon gun owners in a really unique spot. And this is the way I look at it is I want to go on the offensive, right? Because I feel that no matter what happens with this or the primary in general, going into the long session, there is going to be so much it's going to be very tumultuous in the building. And if we have legislation ready to go, they're going to be on their heels. They're not going to be in a position to come after our rifles. They're not going to be in a position to go after all these things like they did with the short session, because they're going to be on their heels, because there's just so many moving parts going on currently. And that's kind of how I feel. And I hope you feel kind of similar.
Yeah, one thing a lot of people don't know about me and my practice, one of the areas where I've really succeeded and had a ton of fun is getting stays on legislation, whether at the state or local level. I've done it with tobacco bans, and I've done it with guns. Obviously, that's the most well-known. I even got a stay after I lost one time in Multnomah County. So the Court of Appeals stayed the law even though I lost. It was awesome. And my concern here, or my big push for Deal is kind of like I've shown an ability to get a stay. He's shown an ability to energize people. So having a governor who still wants to legislate a little bit and say, well, if the legislature, if the Republicans won't do what I want them to do, and the Democrats won't do what I want them to do, I'm going to go directly to the people and lead a referendum effort or a ballot measure effort. I think that energy is really good. But again, all 4 of them said what they were supposed to say to me, at least. They said the right things. I don't think any of them are bad. I don't think any of them are secret anti-gun Democrats or rhinos. I think really it's a primary. So we're going to agree on 95% of policy. And what we're looking for is who do we think is the best leader. Tip of the hat again to Danielle Bethel. I was impressed with her work at the Coos County debate, and she did it again tonight, where she's kind of got that honey badger. Sorry about the dog. The dog's deaf, or I'd yell at her.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't yell at the dog.
She wouldn't hear me if I hollered. Maybe Derek, take it a second.
Yeah, and I think I don't have a lot of experience with her. I mean, I'm trying to get her to do a live stream like I've done with Deal and Drazen. That's kind of my goal. I'm hoping now she can kind of see the importance of us, everybody getting an opportunity to go in front of our crowd, right? Because I think it's really important because, we're the ones of action, right? So we were there in the building in the short session. We did a lot of great things. We helped them. We shored them up. And so I want to be like going into the long session, also going into the general or the primary. I want to be the hammer, right? So like if there's something we need to do, I want to point and go that direction and get it done. And so that's where I need these candidates to kind of lean into us, lean into guns. Like I said to Drazen earlier, lean into guns. She leaned into guns last night and she did well. And so that's where, like, I just need Dudley to come on here. I mean, I'll give him the same opportunity. Also Bethel. And that way, now we have the recordings for all of the candidates, right? So now we know where they stand. Obviously, the moderators, that's the issue because I think they want to play nice. And they don't understand that this is going to be a fist fight in the primary, and it's going to be a fist fight all the way to the general with Kotek. And so they need us. They need the gun vote. And I'm not going to back down from this because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? I'm sick and tired of being under attack. I'm sick and tired of worrying every session how much time we're going to have to do in this fight, right? So, if they want us to show up and vote, like they need to kind of court us. And that's the way I feel.
Yeah, there's I told Christine Drazen this last night by phone, but if you look at the Firearm Policy Coalition, FPC, if you look at their Freedom Index and go click on Oregon, and I think we scored like an 88, 82%, somewhere around there. If you look at the laws where we got demerits, all of them have been adopted since I graduated high school in 2011. I think the earliest is 2013. If it's not 2013, it's 2015. Oregonians have had it light as far as gun laws go. For a state as blue as we've been for as long as we've been blue, we've had it really, really light. And so when you look at that, and I don't think that the political system we have set up here in Oregon right now is prepared to deal with that because it's so new. I mean, there's pro-gun Democrats and certainly left-leaning pro-gun non-affiliated voters who are left-leaning on, union issues, kind of blue dog Democrats. And there's a shock to the system because the worst gun law ever created in the state of Oregon was passed 4 years ago, and not even a full 4 years, three and change, in 2022. And so, I appreciate all the talk about the forests. The forests are important. My buddies are loggers, but it would have been nice if the candidates were able to talk about guns for 5 minutes or 2 minutes. And I think all the candidates missed an opportunity when it came to public safety.
Yeah, I think, and part of it is, I think one thing I was kind of irritated about is the fact it was, 20 minutes late, right? So they shortened all the time where it could have given us more time. Maybe they had two questions down. It's the fact that maybe they had a tech issue where they couldn't get this thing out where it costs us time. Well, run it over. Like if you're, you shortened up the time on us. And so we didn't get to hear what we needed to hear.
It's a live stream. Everybody Loves Raymond isn't on after this.
No.
You can just run late.
Yeah, and we're going to record it and we'll watch it back for posterity.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I really appreciate Mark from Portland being in the chat, right,
Mhm.
is I think we're in a very unique position, especially with what happened with Rep Tran, is there is some very moderate Democrats there, right, that are going to vote with their guns. They're like, they're gun owners.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose their guns. They know that a vote for Kotek is going to be increased taxes. The status quo, also their rights are going to be under attack. And I think this is a really important time for where we can, bring those people over to our side to the 2A vote.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
But we also, as gun owners, have to deliver what I mean. I've borderline threatened all the candidates, and I said Oregonian gun owners are going to vote in this primary, and you must court them and make us happy, or you're going to lose the primary. And
100%.
So let's focus on that. I appreciate the photos at a gun range. That's not what the Second Amendment's about. The Second Amendment's about killing bad guys, and frankly, deposing them should that be necessary. And that's always that should be an uncomfortable position for a politician to talk about. Is if I screw up too much, they have the ability to come to if we see another COVID round. Or they turn the COVID restrictions up to 11, non-compliant and armed non-compliant, and that should be uncomfortable for a politician to say. That should make them sweat a little bit. And I mean, I've heard that from all four of the candidates. I've made it clear that this is not your granddaddy's Second Amendment movement. This is your great granddaddy's Second Amendment.
And I want to speak to this one last part is, we want to work with them. We want to help them. What we showed in the past since 2020 up there in the building is we show up, we're in this fight with them. Right. So they need to see us as an extension of them, and they need to, court us, right? Like people need to feel that their vote is going to be mattered, because this is really the most important vote that we're going to have, because this is our opportunity, with the fraud and all the other stuff with the mail-in ballots. This is our opportunity that if we see, the reality that there's not a perfect candidate, but there's one that can win, and we support that candidate, we're going to unseat Kotek, and that's going to be huge. And that's where our eyes should be on the prize right now. That's the way I feel.
There are people who voted for Kotek who did not vote, or who voted no against ballot measure 114. And that's 100%. I mean, 100%. When you just look at the percentage breakdown, assuming that there's not a bunch of half filled in ballots, there are people that voted for Kotek and voted for guns voted to protect guns. And we need to win those people over. And they are the non-affiliated voters. They're the redneck blue dog union guys who are plumbers and, a lot of blue collar jobs where they still value, the union aspect. And so I'm going to be watching very carefully what those four especially do from here on out. But I think Bethel probably got the most gain in the who was winning. I think it looked like a Deal Drazen race when you first put the poll up, and it became a Deal Bethel race.
Well, once I get done with this, so I want to talk about this, right? So with Dudley, the one thing that I really didn't care for is the fact that everything is a sport analogy, right? I get it, your whole career, your whole identity is around basketball, but I'm not playing basketball here. I'm fighting for the livelihood, the freedom of my children, all of this stuff. It's tough. I know. I don't know. That's just one thing that really kind of irritated me, is everything was about basketball and rebounds, and okay, you're 6'11", I can't rebound. I want to shoot a semi-automatic rifle whenever I want and not have to have a permit to do it. What are you going to do there? You got a sport analogy for there. That's just me. And so my last thing that I'll kind of cover is let's look at the polls. Okay. So this is my I'm going to update it real quick. And then, So this is where we're at.
The other Tony
So-
just made a good point for you, Derek. No such thing as a perfect candidate.
100%. 100%. I've been.
That-
He got that for me, right? Is that Tony
Yeah,
Porco?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got that for me. And so, so look where we're at. So Ed Deal. So who do you think's winning? 64%. You know, Danielle kind of close. I don't know why. I did see Drazen getting votes. I don't know why they didn't show up. That was kind of weird to me. I don't know. It might have been a tech issue, but I did see people voting for Drazen. I think Drazen did well tonight. She definitely held her own, and so, you know, if I was a candidate tonight, I would be pleased with my performance. I don't think there was a single one that failed. I think they all held their own, and so, you know, that's kind of where I'm at on that one. And let's look at the other one. So who's more 2A? And so looks to me like we had, you know, Ed Deal coming. Danielle Bethel, I don't know where she stands because I haven't spoken with her. And Chris Dudley, I don't know where he stands. I mean, obviously I know where the top two, like Ed Deal and Drazen are. And so I can form a pretty honest opinion there. You know, so if I had two candidates that I would choose, it would be those two would be my top. Until the other two can earn my vote. And that's the way I look at it. Is these people have to earn my vote. And you know, obviously I came out and I endorsed Ed Deal. But I'm like, damn, like Drazen really did well. So that's kind of where I'm at.
She made some good points last night. I really she mentioned she had talked to me, so I don't feel like I'm talking out of school here, but you know, she talked to me specifically about where's the case at, and can I do something if I'm elected? Can I file something? And I like that impulse. I like that Derek, and I'll give Derek his flowers like I love to do. I love that Derek is causing the impulse to be, oh shoot, we're going to talk about guns this afternoon. Let's call Derek or Tony. Because you guys know where we stand and what we're going to say. And I like that it's not, let's call another legislator. Dudley couldn't say legislator or legislature. You couldn't use that correctly tonight. I just thought that was funny. I screw it up too. But I like that that's their impulse. And we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for you guys who are watching it now, watching it later. On Derek's Facebook page, on my Facebook page, that they don't talk to us because we're handsome. They talk to us because gun owners listen to what we say. And so, again, just activating the community, this primary, and then again in the general, we have to deliver. Otherwise, they're not going to call us. So we have to get out and vote.
Yeah, and one thing is we have to show unity, right? So that everything that we're trying to do, especially when gun rights, is bring people together. We have to understand our 2A is very, very diverse here in the state of Oregon, and it crosses all socioeconomics, race, gender, color, everything. Also, you know, right or left. This is not a right or left issue for me. It's not a partisan issue. This is a good versus evil. Obviously, the people are trying to take away your rights and disarm you are the evil people, because they're not going to prevent those criminals from doing bad things to your family. So that's where I feel what I really enjoy about Drazen calling you is the fact that you and I are the ones she calls, right? So we are the ones that, you know, we finally earn the trust up there because of our temperament, and they know that we're straight shooters, and they know that we're working on the behalf of our people. Our people are the 2A people that watch these videos and are a part of it. They submit testimony, you know, written, verbal, online. And they also show up, you know, so that's really a testament to everybody that's part of the group.
Kalinda made a good point. She's 100% correct. I forgot about that for a moment. Danielle Bethel did donate to fight Measure 114. I think, you know, some people's donate anonymously, so I don't want to say she's the only one for sure. But she's the only one who put her name next to it. And, you know, I'm confident at what they're going to do in Marion County. Marion County's, a lot of people don't. I live in Polk County. I live in West Salem. So a lot of the Salem stuff they were talking about really hit home with me. Wallace Marine Park's where I watched my dad play softball growing up. It's where I learned to cuss and what beer smelled like, and, you know, all sorts of fun stuff. And the park's unusable. If you take a boat my dad took my grandfather's boat out on the Willamette, and he was disgusted. We're talking about, my parents are both lifelong West Salemites, and just watching our side of the bridge get trashed with Portland problems that are moving down this way. You know, the park where I used to play basketball is unusable. Homeless encampments everywhere. I mean, those things are very important to talk about. But in a primary debate, we'd kind of like to know where you guys are different. And what I heard, the person who distinguished herself the most, I would say, would be Danielle Bethel, because she did speak like an executive, because she is an executive. So she knows those agencies, and you know, I'll tip my hat to her on that. I think fundraising is going to be a problem, and I think we likely come down to a 3-way primary. And that's no hate towards Danielle Bethel. I think she's amazing, but money is how you win elections. And I'm not a, gee, I wish it was different guy. I mean, I do, but I live in the situation I'm in, and the situation I'm in is money wins elections.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was, it was good. I mean, we've got 4 good candidates, and so hopefully, the one thing, and let's kind of close up, because it's been over 2 hours, and I know you guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys are not too wasted out there, just because of, actually, we didn't have too much drinking.
Yeah.
It was probably more sipping than anything. So
I did anyways, but
I think what's really, really important now is I see a lot of stuff on social media where you have people that are bashing candidates, right? And I just want to leave you with this, okay?
Yeah.
In the comment section, it is not your job to tell somebody how to vote, right? It's your job to know who your candidate is, support your candidate, and vote for that candidate, okay? I see so much in these Oregon Republican groups where there's just fist fights in the comment section. It doesn't need to be that, okay? So let's have our candidates. Obviously, we want to have a good candidate, but let's have those candidates win on the merits. And, just make sure that, you keep it clean, That's why we wanted to do this. We wanted to make it fun. I had fun.
I had fun.
So,
and
yeah.
great point, Derek. And I couldn't agree more. I try to praise the people that are doing good things rather than talk about what the people who I disagree with are doing wrong. Unless they're
okay. So let's do this. Okay. We're going to close this out. Let's give one positive thing each candidate did before we close this out. So I'll let you go first.
All right. I'm going to start with Dudley, because he's at the far right side of the stage. And for some reason, I'm going right to left. I think Dudley spoke a lot more conservatively than I thought he was going to. People have kind of painted him as a moderate, and I didn't hear a lot of super duper moderate stuff come out of his mouth tonight. And these are issues where he can afford to be moderate if he wants to. He can't on 2A or 1A or any of the real big kind of culture war issues. He spoke conservatively about business taxes in Oregon, and I appreciated that.
Okay. So for me with Dudley, I appreciated his business experience. I think that's going to be important going forward, because I think we need somebody that's a business owner there. So that's and the next one, Danielle Bethel, for me. I think that I was really impressed where she was kind of like a Wolverine, right? Or a badger, honey badger. I like that. I thought she was a little fiery, which I think with what's happening, knowing Julie Fahey, the Speaker of the House, because of all of our interactions, we're going to need somebody in the governor's office that can push back on the shenanigans. And so I like that. What'd you like about her?
Danielle Bethel, she spoke like an executive. I mean, it is Drazen kind of took a stab at her about we can't afford to have somebody in there who doesn't know where the bathrooms are. The bathrooms to me are far less important than the agencies.
Yeah.
And she rattled off so many letters that I was lost. I don't know what OFLMNOP is. And good for her. She knows it. And I think she would do a great job if she got in at the action of being governor.
Okay. And you want to take the next one?
Ed Deal. I really liked the way he spoke about the natural resources. I haven't heard him talk about that as much. And Oregon is, I mean, people will call California one of the more beautiful states in the country, and I agree. Oregon is, I've got a friend from Texas, kind of like an uncle to me, and he moved to Oregon because of its beauty. And we don't get to enjoy it the way we should because we're paying up the ears and fees, and we don't use it to make money. He made a very specific point about we can triple our logging without even approaching reforestation levels. That's a good point.
Yeah, I really like that part as well. But I also liked the compassion part. I think that was like, it breaks my heart to see these people on the streets and there's no way out. And you know what's the real crime here? It's the people that are profiting off the misery. And there's executives that are making 6 figures plus off of this machine that they've created with homelessness. And so I really like that. And so the last one with Drazen, I really liked some of the things that she talked about, as like being inside the building and her experience there. I felt that she scored some good points there with me, and so I think she had a really good tone and temperament about her, and she was like, she said that I'm ready. I'm like, I like that, because like I think what's really for us on the fence that are kind of wondering, what's going to happen here, is we need somebody that's going to show confidence in this situation and like turnkey. That's the one thing that Trump is made a lot of mistakes. He's done something well, so he's made some mistakes. But the thing is, we knew from day one he was ready to step in and lead and do what he's done in the first 100 days. So that's kind of where I look at it. So what do you think?
Yeah, Drazen has been in the legislature long enough. We don't have like the federal government where it's just you're going to do 50 years in the legislature very often. She's been in since, I think she said 2018. That's a fairly long tenure for an Oregon legislator. And so she kind of, it's a weird way to say it, but she knows where the bodies are buried. She knows the way these laws are written and how to use the bully pulpit of being governor to direct executive agencies where she could make a lot of first day changes where we really do see executive order, agency head change result for Oregonians. And I think that's valuable that she's got that experience. She's also lived and knows a lot of Oregon. I've got a soft spot for Ed Deal because he's from Montana. My wife's from Montana. I went to school in Montana. I think Oregon would be better if it was more like Montana. But Drazen knows Oregon very, very well. Being from K Falls all the way up to Clackamas County where I practice, hats off to her on that.
Yeah. So this is the last thing, obviously. I think it's really important is in the comment sections, is you have to understand these people that are trying to drive the bus, they're doing it for attention. They have nothing going for them. They're irrelevant. Some of the things I've seen in the last 24 to 48 hours, the guy that was in the comments earlier, right? He left because he's not going to get us pushing back because we have two important things to do. And that's, we're going to go to work. We're going to do what needs to be done to save the state. And, so don't waste your time just scrolling by. It's not your job to change their mind in the comments, because it's going to drive up your blood pressure. So, just know who your candidate is, know how you're going to vote, and let us help you. And, we're going to try to have all the information that we can, because it's really important, especially on their 2A, is making sure all these candidates get in front of us. And so you guys know where they stand, so you guys can make that important vote when it's time.
I care more that you vote than who you vote for.
Absolutely.
Especially after tonight. All were wonderful. So just vote. Yeah. It's my birthday. It's my 33rd birthday, May 19th. Just give me the birthday present of voting. Yeah. And then do it again in November. Thank you so much for having me tonight, Derek. It was a fun time.
No, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. We had like 250 people watching, which was great. So thank you guys for tuning in. We had a great time, and we're going to keep you posted. Just stay in this fight. We're in it together. And obviously we're going to save our state. And we're also going to save our 2A rights. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Have a great night. We'll see you again.